this is Jacqueline here with the Grow Program. People, we have got to stop oppressing one another. We have got to stop oppressing one another. What you see going on in the African American community in Chicago, St. Louis, where there's high crime, that's oppression. Oppression is a result of racial injustice, inequality, police brutality, just every infliction that has been brought upon African American people, then we begin to oppress ourselves. Okay, I want to get into something real quick. Over the weekend, I was in a store and I purchased something, and this is what I bought. Yeah, I bought that, and it was purchased at a little thrift store called Savers. That's in Fairview Heights, Illinois. I purchased that so that I could destroy it, so I could tear it up. But in the meantime, I want to show this is what we deal with. This is the type of thing that I'm talking about. This is the inequality that we deal with on a daily basis. Why would you put something like that out to sell? Why would you accept something like that in your store to sell? A black-faced monkey. Why would you do that? Okay, so I want people to boycott Savers in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Boycott Savers in Fairview Heights, Illinois until they issue an apology. I will be writing to corporate about this issue here, about what I have purchased. It's really sad that we're still dealing with this in this day and age. African Americans have touched so many lives, and in so many positive ways, so many positive contributions that we have made, to the United States. But this country does not love us. and really, I wouldn't say it's so much the country, but it's the powers that be, the powers that be that are in control, that are able to make a difference in the community. You see what's going on. It's oppression. There's no jobs. It's inequality. They see police brutality displayed on the screen every day, and nothing's done about it. We were blatantly told by the Kentucky Attorney General, who is African American, that the white people lives matter more than the African American life that was lost that night. We were told in our faces. So the way that we deal with this people is not to oppress ourselves. It's not to bring ourselves down. We have to get up and challenge our energy into a positive way. And how we challenge our energy into a positive way is with the Grow movement, because you begin to change the way you think about yourself. Don't think about yourself as what you have been in the past, or what somebody else, excuse me, what somebody else has deemed you to be. You are not that. You are greatness, and you can reach your potential greatness. All you have to do is change your mindset, change your way of thinking. If you out there gang banging and thugging, you just need to change. You need to come out of that. Because there's no out to that. So there's only two ways of getting out of that. So you need to change your mindset now, and that's with the Grow Program. Getting on board the Grow Program and growing through your mind and through your heart with forgiveness, so that you can achieve your glory. Because God said in Genesis, his people going to come out with substance 400 years later. It's 400 years later. Now it's time to change our mindset, people. Okay, now I want to get on these people, because I am so disappointed in BET. I am truly disappointed in BET, because BET should not be black entertainment television. BET should be black educational television. Teach us something, show us something, BET. We have ourselves. We can't look at the white people to tell us about our history. We can't look at the white people to tell us about our past. They didn't teach it to me in high school, and I went to an all-black high school. They didn't teach it to me in high school. I taught I was learning American history and social studies, biology, stuff like that. Black history didn't come along till much later, and I was out of high school by then. I had to learn it myself. So BET, you have been oppressing our people for a long time. You know, remember Uncut? Remember Uncut? Those raunchy, degrading videos. And now, you know, we have it where our kids are seeing these raunchy, degrading videos. You know, and thinking that this lifestyle is okay. You got a man out here singing that he would slip a woman a drug to rape her. And y'all glorifying that. That is horrible. Because once that happened and that young man go to jail, where is the singer going to be? What song is he going to sing to him then? You know, this is horrible. BT, we got to do better. You know, we have our African-American young kings and queens growing up. What are you showing them, BT? How to act silly on TV? No, we need to show them educational stuff. We need to show them how our African-American kings and queens and legends of the past have contributed to where they are today, that they have freedom today. Because I'm going to tell you something. In 1865, they were fighting to keep slavery. It's a miracle that you have BT. It's a miracle. So what you need to do is get it together and start educating our young people, our children. Because I don't even have BET in my house. I never have for years and years and years, ever since Uncut. You know, because that was degrading to women. It was horrible, you know, and now we have these same videos. We have our women be exploited. They need to shut down these videos. They need to shut down these strip clubs because there ain't nothing but degrading to women and inviting women to be assaulted. So, you know, BET, you need to do better. You really do. You know, and I hope you have. I haven't looked to see, you know, what you've been doing lately, but the last I checked, it was movies and silly TV shows. I understand the awards. They absolutely need to be recognized for their awards and their achievements. But what I'm asking you to do, BT, is look at the legends of the past. Start bringing some of them in. You know, some that we don't hear about. Some is kings and queens that we don't even hear about, BT. A whole lot of people out there. So we need more BT TV shows. We need more BT stations out there, you know, because what we're trying to do is build up our African-American community, change people's mindset. That's all grow is. It don't cost anything to grow. It's just changing your mindset, changing your way of thinking, and change your outlook on life. You know, you forgive people. You know, those who done you wrong, you forgive them, you know, and you let that go. And then you stop oppressing yourself and you forgive yourself. You know, that's all that is. So come on, people, we got to do better. That's all I'm asking is let's just begin to grow. Let's begin to grow. And young lady, I'm tell you something. You need to take that tracker off his car. You need to take that tracker off your phone. You know, tracking that man, tracking his telephone. Because I'm just, you know, I'm letting you know right now. What you need to do is worry about yourself. You know, if you got to worry about him and focus on him so much that you can't even worry about yourself and what you're doing, then you don't need to be with him. You know, if you can't trust him enough to let him go, if he say he going to his friend's house, you got to track him and find out where he at. And if he really there, if he going to the gas station, whose house is this? You know, you don't need him. You need somebody who going to help you become the queen that you're supposed to be. You know, somebody that you can trust, somebody that trusts you, you know, and y'all are doing this right, doing it together. Because I'm going to tell you something, if you ain't doing right, it ain't going to work. You know, if you out there doing wrong, young lady, and on Sunday you in church, that's not going to work either. It don't work like that. Because I'm going to tell you something, God don't bless no mess. And we talking about the ancestors here. The ancestors are around us and they are watching us. So you don't learn that either. That ain't in the Bible. You don't know nothing about your ancestors. But you need to read up and study about what they were doing in Africa before we were kidnapped and brought over here. You need to learn that 12 million Africans were brought over here to the United States. You need to learn that the blood of your ancestors is on those stripes on that flag. You need to learn about how the White House and the Lincoln Monument and a whole bunch of other different buildings were built. You need to learn that these old trees that you're looking at, these 150-year-old trees that you drive by and see, you know, these trees once bore some strange fruit. You know, it's a whole lot of stuff that you need to know and learn, you know, instead of focusing on being out there in the street, whopping, degrading yourself, demeaning yourself, and young man, you out there gang banging, thugging, you committing federal crimes is what you're doing. You don't realize that, and you don't realize that once, that time, it don't add up together. You don't do state and federal together. They go separate. They want the separate years out of you. So you're going to do your separate time, and you're going to work for free. You're going to be in there. You're going to make whatever they need you to make. Whatever the federal government need, you're going to be making it. And you ain't got no say-so whether you're going to get up or not. You're going to get up, and you're going to do it, and you are their property. If you done got charged federally, it don't mean you're going to stay where you got charged at. You can go to Alaska. The government can send you anywhere they want to send you. They can send you to Hawaii, and they will do it because they don't want your people around you. They don't want you to know nothing. So you need to wise up and listen to what I'm saying. And if you know somebody out there who ganging and thugging and getting over and scheming, because I'm going to tell you something, when you don't dot your I and cross your T and think you're getting over, it ain't nothing but a trap. It's a setup. And you're going to walk right in it. And you're going to walk right into some federal charges is what you're going to do. So, I'm telling you, and what you call it up there in the White House, he didn't think about none of that before he got in there. See, he didn't think about none of these federal charges and all this other, tax evasion. He just thought he was going to get a free ride and maybe pay off some bills or whatever. But see, this is how you get set up by the government. And I'm telling you the truth. You get set up. And you need to quit. If you out there selling crack, that's federal. If you out there shooting people, that's federal. If you out there committing white collar crimes, got your baby daddy in the house, and you on child care, and you going to work and getting a check and all this other stuff, babysitting, all this other stuff going on, that's federal. You going away, and you need to quit right now today. It's the reason you watching this video. And if you know somebody out there, it's the reason you watching this video, and I'm telling you, you need to share it with them, because I'm giving you some advice. I'm speaking to you. The Lord sent me to speak to you, so that's that. So, I just want to, tell you what the Grow program is about, give you a little heads up about all these traps, these booby traps around here that's set up for you, because I didn't listen. And I went to the school of hard knocks. And I graduated with a PhD. And I'm trying to keep you from going in that school because it's hard. It's real hard. It's the worst college you ever been to. Anyway, y'all, I love y'all. And just want to get this video out there. It's some other stuff we going to get on probably today. But, I'm with you. We going to grow. We're going to continue to change our mindset, the way we think about ourselves, the way we think about others, the way we think about our lifestyle. Change whatever you're doing, and make it right. Let's grow. Peace.